and it's a fairly small watershed area. No, it doesn't drain much land. It probably drains maybe 75 to 100 acres of land up here. So all the fresh water that comes in off the land and then goes down here and potentially goes out here to the St. Lawrence. How many of you all know about the seaway and how that operates? Just put your hand up. If you know something about it, put it up high so I can see who knows. Okay, well, maybe about half of you know about the seaway. What happened, or how this system operated, how it operated before the seaway went in, is that all of the water that comes out of the Great Lakes, that whole big huge watershed, is controlled by how much rain or how much snow they get every year. Get a little bit of rain, a little bit of snow, not much water comes down through here. But now we're talking about a huge volume of water that comes off the watershed going down to the Atlantic. And as you go downstream from here, there was a place in the river where there was essentially a sill in the bottom of the river which controlled the amount of water that was in the St. Lawrence from that point upstream, including the waters that were in Lake Ontario. And so what happened was the rain would come and the water would flow downstream and go down, and it was controlled by a natural sill. It was called the rapids, if you will, and it basically was deep. The water ran fast, and some of the old steamers could go upstream in those rapids, but you basically couldn't bring up really big vessels up that waterway. So this whole system, if you will, the vegetation near the shore developed around a regime, if you will, of how the water came in and how the water went out, when it was high water and when it was low water. Okay, so that sort of sets the stage. That's been going on for somewhere around the last 5,000 years. So it's a long period of time where the system, the natural system, sort of developed or evolved from the last ice age, which took place about 10,000 years ago, or about 12,000, I think. What I get corrected on stuff. It's all right. Speak up. No problem. But for purposes, this was all covered at one point with ice, and the landscape developed because, or it essentially evolved from a geologic point of view, because ice came down and moved stuff around and left deposits when it retreated back up. So you got this combination, and this ended up being the outlet, if you will, of this huge, big watershed, which includes the Great Lakes. And there's only one place where the water is siphoned off unnaturally, and that's in Chicago, where they siphon off some water to go down to the Mississippi, which is a whole other story we're not going to get into. That the Land Trust is not involved, thank God, with that problem. Okay, so now let me tell you a little bit about what happens on the edge of